I'm Draven. I typically make high gain amp demos here on YouTube, and recently I've been doing some other stuff here and there. Today's video is one that I've been wanting to make for quite a while, just kind of haven't gotten around to it. And as you might have seen from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about amp sims a little bit today, and something that we can do with them that for a while I kind of just never messed with, but recently started toying with and have been really enjoying it. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because in my comment section or just in forums and all that kind of stuff, I see a lot of things about them not feeling right or just kind of all sounding the same, and just a ton of other issues that I honestly do kind of agree with on some, and some I definitely don't agree with. One of my biggest issues with plugins has always been kind of the interaction between the built-in boost pedals and the amps. It kind of just never really did what I was hoping it would do. As well as, a lot of plugins come with multiple amps and stuff like that, but usually they only have one boost pedal, which a lot of the time is some sort of just standard tube screamer kind of thing that typically doesn't really do what I want it to do. And so today we're going to be talking about a few things that we can do alongside of plugins to just make them a little more creative and unique, which mainly what we're going to be talking about today is using real boost pedals going into your interface and going into the amp sims. I've been messing with it quite a bit lately, and I find it way more inspiring, especially when you bring in extra pedals like HM2s and fuzzes and all that kind of stuff, which are things that typically, if a plugin does have one, they're not exactly the one that you're wanting. For instance, a lot of the time I use the Neural DSP Gojira plugin, which it has a kind of like rat pedal built in, which is cool, but it also doesn't really do the super aggressive like Soul and Pickle kind of thing or an HM2 kind of thing. And so having those pedals on hand and just running it into the plugin opens up a whole new world of options. And so today we're going to run a few boost pedals into Gojira and see what that does, as well as check out a few HM2 fuzz type pedals into it, as well as we'll check out a preamp pedal going into just the cab section of Gojira and see how that sounds. And since I know someone's going to mention it, I know this isn't a free fix, but also, you might have pedals laying around that you could use. But also the nice thing about buying some pedals is no matter what setup you're running, you'll always have them. Whether it's just running into some plugins or you decide you want to get some amps and stuff, you'll have pedals already that you can use with them. And so for the setup of this, I'm just running my guitar straight into this Heavy Earth Spectral Gate, just because I suck at guitar. And then that's going into this Heavy Earth Impaler, a Spooky Vibes Night Terror, and a Iron Forge Deathlust, which we won't be using these all at the same time. I just have them set up so we can kind of go through each one. And then out of the Deathlust, we're just going straight into my interface. I'm not using a DI box or anything. And then that's just going into Reaper, into Neural DSP Gojira. Also, one thing I wanted to mention in this video, which is going to sound kind of counterproductive, but it'll make your life easier in the future. If you're doing this kind of thing and you plan on sending the files that you recorded for your song and you use these pedals, what I would suggest doing is getting a DI box. With this, you can plug your guitar in and the DI out will go to your interface. And then most DI boxes have kind of this through output, which this could go to your pedals. And then from your pedals, that'll go into your interface. So you'd be recording both the dry and wet signals. So that way, if you're sending your files to somebody like me, where I prefer the raw DIs, so that way I can run them through my pedals and my amps and stuff and get you the best possible sound for the mix. That'll make it so you don't have to kind of re-record anything or anything like that. And just setting it up like this will save you a lot of time in the future. So I just wanted to put that out there in case you were planning on sending these files to somebody. If not, and you're just kind of making demos at home and just having fun, I wouldn't worry about a DI box at all. I would just plug straight into the interface and get all the fun sounds you can think of. And so with that out of the way, if you end up enjoying this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I have some affiliate links down in the description where if you want to pick something up, it helps me out a ton. And let's dive into Reaper and check out some pedals with an amp sim. Alright, for this currently I'm using my WKM 28-inch baritone in drop G. And this is how the Gojira plugin sounds on its own. And we'll go ahead and kick on this Heavy Earth impaler, and we can kind of mess with the settings and stuff and see how we can get it to sound. And we'll go ahead and compare that to the built-in tube screamer. So definitely say the impaler sounds a lot more aggressive, as well as it feels better. I feel like it's a lot more reactive and just not quite as stiff. Let's switch over to the Night Terror. The Night Terror sounds a little closer to the built-in overdrive, but has kind of more of a modern touch to it. I use the Night Terror a lot with amps and stuff, so I'm very familiar with the sound of it, as well as just I like it a lot. And we'll go ahead over to the Death Lust. the Deathless has a really cool distortion to it, so it not only brings in some tightness, but you can add in that distortion and get some really like gross sounds out of it. The chugs are just like really gross sounding. But yeah, just little stuff like that makes a huge difference, I would say, in using amp sims. And now I'll go ahead and grab some HM2 pedals and we can see what we can get out of it with that. All right, so I've grabbed the Corpse Forge by Smearmore Pedals as well as the Cream EQ from This Heavy Earth. All right, so I took out the Impaler and the Deathless and I left the Night Terror in since it's kind of a standard-ish sounding pedal. And I put in the Corpse Forge and Cream. And so we'll go ahead and mess around with those a little bit. Here's the sound with just the Night Terror on. And here's the Corpse Forge. I really like how crazy it sounds when you run a boost into some sort of HM2 style thing. But I'll go ahead and turn the Night Terror off so you can just hear just the Corpse Forge. Then we'll check out the Cream EQ with the Night Terror going into that. I love like super slow, chuggy riffs with this kind of setup, just because it gets like so gross. And I'll play the cream by itself a little bit. And then with no pedals again. Yeah, so I would say bringing in pedals like this is a huge upgrade for amp sims. Lastly, let's go ahead and check out using a preamp pedal through this setup. All right, and so for the last setup, I have my guitar running into the Spectral Gate, Night Terror, Cream EQ, and a Michael Klein Evil Chunk, which is kind of a Marshall 8100 style preamp, and that's going directly into my interface. And then I bypass the amp in Neural DSP Gojira, so we're just using the cab basically, and that sounds like this. And with that, I'm boosting it with the Night Terror, but I'll go ahead and turn that off. Back on. And we can also turn on the Cream EQ. And so personally, I think just going into a cab sim with a preamp pedal is a very fun way to just get something very different, especially since you can't get this pedal as a plugin. So you're actually getting something unique. And sure, it's a 8100 style thing, which there is an 8100 plugin, but I think it's like $80. And this is also different. This has like a lot more low end than the 8100 usually would offer. And so using different preamp pedals like this can give you much more like unique sound. And yeah, I think that's about it. Let me know down in the comments what you do with amp sims to kind of make them your own. And before the video's over, I will swap my guitar out and we'll play a little bit with the Night Terror and the built-in amp, as well as the Night Terror and Evil Chunk a little bit. All right, so this is a Moon Guitars Zenith with a DiMarzio Super Distortion, and it's tuned to drop C. We'll start off with no boost or anything. And now engage the Night Terror. And then we'll check it out with the Evil Chunk. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next time.